The news and speculation for Shedeur Sanders to the Las Vegas Raiders continues to spread like wildfire by the day. The Raiders are obviously one of those teams that are poised to have a top draft pick this season. We need a quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is regarded by most as one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback of this 2025 NFL draft class. But throughout the past few months or so, Shedeur Sanders has just continued to spread clear signs that he wants to go ahead and play for the Las Vegas Raiders. He wants to get drafted by Las Vegas. On several different occasions, he would post a tweet saying, "Thank you, God," after the Raiders lost the football game. And today, Shedeur Sanders was seen in Las Vegas. He posted a video on his Instagram where he drives by Allegiant Stadium and he put the caption, "Legendary." Now, obviously, that spread like wildfire. And sure, you might be sitting there and thinking to yourself, well, what's the big deal? He drove by Allegiant Stadium. I mean, I've driven by Allegiant Stadium many times as well. Doesn't mean I'm going to be a Raider. Look, I definitely understand that, but you definitely got to understand that a guy like Shedeur Sanders, a young guy like him, a guy who grew up in the social media era, he definitely knows what he's doing. He knows he's going to be a top-end draft pick, and he knows he's been linked to the Raiders, so I definitely think these type of things that he's doing is definitely intentional, and he's just sending a clear message to Mark Davis and the Raiders organization as a whole that he would be down to join the Las Vegas Raiders. But the main thing that really I wanted to touch on in this video, and it's something that really makes this whole Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders situation just a lot more interesting, is what his father, primetime Deion Sanders, did. Now, one thing to mention too is not only has Shedeur Sanders been linked to the Raiders, but also his father, primetime Deion Sanders, has been linked as a potential replacement of Antonio Pierce of the Las Vegas Raiders. And with the future of Antonio Pierce being uncertain, some analysts were making their case and just predicting that Deion Sanders could potentially leave the college ranks and make the move to join the Las Vegas Raiders, just obviously due to the connections with the Raiders having a very good possibility of drafting Shedeur Sanders. And they mentioned the fact that Deion Sanders has a pretty strong relationship with Raiders now minority owner Tom Brady. But something just happened that could really change everything about what we think about the future of the Raiders. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce was seen at an event with Deion Sanders in Las Vegas, and I'm not exactly sure what this event is. It appears to be like some type of party for the celebration of Shedeur Sanders winning the Johnny Unitas Award, which is essentially the award for being the best college quarterback of the season. But just take a look at this clip right here.
Now I just need you to do one thing. I need you to draft those Sanders boys next year. This is your style. This is your house.
So definitely very interesting. I mean, you literally got Deion Sanders telling him, "Draft my boys." Now, obviously, it's a party, though. Everybody's laughing, having a good time. I understand that, but Deion Sanders is another guy, too, that, I think he knows what he's doing as well. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And ultimately, the way I perceive this video in just this whole situation as a whole is just a couple different factors that I wanted to jump into. And first, it's the fact that I think this just has confirmed that Deion Sanders approves his son, Shedeur Sanders, and not just him, his other son as well, Shiloh, going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, this is definitely huge because we all know Deion Sanders has made it clear, made it known to the media that he will be heavily involved in the future of his son, Shedeur Sanders, when it comes to the draft. And he essentially has hinted at the fact that if his son doesn't get drafted into the right situation, they could potentially pull an Eli Manning type of situation where he sits out and potentially forces his way out. Now, we have all speculated that Shedeur and Deion Sanders would approve the Raiders as one of their preferred destinations, but that was obviously just an assumption. But by him publicly saying this to Antonio Pierce, head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, to me that has officially confirmed it, in my opinion. Deion Sanders wants his sons to join the Raiders. But with Deion Sanders coming out and saying this, he's letting everybody know that he wants his son to join the Raiders. And the second takeaway that I took from this video is also the fact that, to me, this just kind of shows that Deion Sanders and Antonio Pierce, I mean, it looks like they have a pretty good relationship between the two. They definitely have a solid level of mutual respect between the two. And it's just something like, you know, with the whole rumors of Deion Sanders potentially joining the Raiders, look, I always thought it was a long shot, but just due to the fact that his son is coming out, he could have a good chance, if he joined the Raiders, of coaching his son once again. I definitely saw it as a possibility, but I wasn't quite sure if Deion Sanders would be willing to leave what appears to be like a pretty good situation for him at Colorado to join the NFL, to make that leap into the professional ranks. But after seeing this video, to me, it makes it feel and seem like Deion Sanders is not really coming after Antonio Pierce's job. To be honest, I mean, Deion Sanders is another guy who knows the media. He just knows the whole game of the NFL, both on and off the football field. I mean, he's lived through the NFL draft process as a player and also as a member of the NFL media. So, I mean, don't get that twisted. Deion Sanders is a very smart person. He knows what he's doing. He makes calculated moves and decisions. And ultimately, I mean, Deion Sanders could be playing chess. And maybe these rumors and speculations, with him being on Ice Cube's podcast and bringing up the whole subject of him potentially being a head coach in the NFL, I mean, all these different factors, this could just be a part of his main plan, and that's just ultimately to drive the hype up for his son, Shedeur Sanders, to be the potential #1 overall pick of the 2025 NFL Draft. I mean, to be the #1 overall pick would be a huge deal for his son, and ultimately, if he could help influence guiding him into the right situation, I think that's something that he would do. And ultimately, it just seems like Deion Sanders, he has a tight rapport with our owner, Tom Brady. And like I said before, it definitely appears that Deion Sanders approves of Antonio Pierce as the head coach. Even last season, he has spoken highly of Antonio Pierce. And we literally heard it straight from Deion Sanders. He believes in Antonio Pierce, and ultimately he wants him to take care of his boys at the next level, and that should definitely speak volumes. Now, ultimately though, I would not be shocked if this has been a plan that Antonio Pierce, Mark Davis, Tom Brady, and even Deion Sanders, maybe they've been brewing this for a while. With the Raiders not drafting a quarterback last offseason, the writing was on the wall before the season that the Raiders were likely going to struggle this year. And this may have been their plan all along. It may have been something that they just were all on board with. This potential scenario that they're going to potentially be bad this season, and that they may have to sacrifice a season in order to have an opportunity to go all in on a quarterback in this year's draft. And if they do, that quarterback appears to be Shedeur Sanders. All the signs point to Shedeur Sanders becoming a Las Vegas Raider. But ultimately, I mean, there still is 5 games left of the regular season. The Raiders still need to secure a top 2 draft pick in order to feel really good about having a chance of drafting him. If they fall outside of the top 3, it's going to get more difficult. I think there's a legit connection between the Raiders and Shedeur Sanders. But ultimately though, I know it's a long ways away to the NFL draft, but I just feel like if the Raiders have a shot to select Shedeur Sanders, they are not passing up on that opportunity. But Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about this whole situation. But with that being said, Raider Nation, for anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.